Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Mick shots, salary cap limitations linger into 2025. Frisco, Texas. How about a little better reasonable clarification of what selectively aggressive actually means? You know, what Cowboys COO and co-owner Stephen Jones said on Monday from the NFL Scouting Combine, when asked what he has to say to the fans out there, you guys, who want to see the Cowboys become more aggressive with offseason moves. Here is the entire answer to prevent any misconceptions. We're going to look at everything we can. We're going to be selectively aggressive. Obviously, there's things in this league you have certain amount of resources they allow you to have, and we will look at that. But we're going to try to improve our football team. Not try, we're going to improve our football team, and we expect to have success next year. Yes, resources. Read salary cap. That doesn't go away. And even though early reports suggest the cap rising to somewhere between $277 million and $281 million, a jump of roughly $22 to $26 million from this past season, this in no way suggests the Cowboys can extravagantly begin spending under these tight regulations. For argument purposes, say the cap comes in at $280 million. Plus, the Cowboys are able to roll over the $18 million of excess cap space from 2024. Great, right? But slow down there, partner. Before they even designate the retiring Zach Martin a June 1st cut to spread out his remaining restructure prorations over the next two seasons, they must account for $20.75 million in dead money. The majority of that accumulated from leftover bonus prorations and restructure bonus prorations for Michael Gallup, $8.7 million, DeMarcus Lawrence, $7.44 million, and Brandon Cooks, $4 million. That $20.7 million immediately cancels out that rollover total, and plus, once they designate Martin a June 1st release, that will add another $9 million in dead money for his restructured contract bonuses. That's for just this year. There will be more for 2026. Now, to create operating room, since right now the Cowboys would be like $4 million over the cap on the top 53 cap hits, they must either restructure a few of these contracts and/or lower Micah Parsons' $24 million fifth-year option by signing him to an extension. Because right now, Dak Prescott's 2025 salary cap hit is $89.89 million, CeeDee Lamb comes in at $35.45 million, Terrence Steele is at a cool $18 million, and Trayvon Diggs is at $14 million. Add those 5 contracts up and that totals $189.34 million. In other words, 5 guys are taking up 67.6% of the salary cap. For sure, they will trigger restructure clauses already in the contracts of Dak and CD just to drop under the salary cap maximum by March 12. To me, selectively aggressive means the Cowboys will initially try to re-sign a few of their deemed necessary unrestricted free agents, and then see if there are any reasonably priced bargains available in free agency. These stark numbers certainly don't suggest taking a shot at going on any exorbitant shopping spree. Moving on up, here is another cautionary warning. While the salary cap might increase like $25 million for the Cowboys, this rise also increases the salary cap maximum for the other 31 NFL teams. And that means they, too, will have more money to spend, which increases market value for unrestricted free agents, elevating the Cowboys' problems trying to re-sign some of their own guys, such as Osa Odigizua, Rico Dowdle, and Jordan Lewis, just to name a few. Said Jones, it obviously gives every team more room, and in a lot of cases, which it should, it can drive the market up on individual players in terms of what they might have gotten, versus when it goes up a little more than teams had expected. Check this out. Saw this recent 2025 cap study with New England projected to have $111.9 million in cap space, Las Vegas, $85.7 million, and Washington $68.4 million. My gosh, those teams can overly inflate the market to outbid for any player they might want. In fact, there are 9 teams in this projection with at least $50 million of available salary cap space. The Cowboys must value quantity over quality. Demo update: Cowboys rehabbing linebacker DeMarvion Overshown provided a great update on his surgically repaired torn knee ligaments while a guest during radio station 1310 The Ticket's annual Ticketstock weekend. Said he's finally off his crutches, following his second ACL repair in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. Overshown definitely will start training camp listed on physically unable to perform, a customary precaution for those rehabbing from off-season surgeries to retain the possibility of being placed on inactive PUP to start the season. And there is a good chance Demo said he'll have to start the 2025 season on PUP, meaning automatically missing, at the minimum, the first 4 games. So that unknown probably adds linebacker to the list of Cowboys' offseason needs. Dalal Limbo mentioned last week that Cowboys 4-time Pro Bowl defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence intimated to me he still wants to continue playing after successfully rehabbing from his Lisfranc injury that cut short this past season by the final 13 games, though had the Cowboys' playoff chances been on the line, he might have been able to play the final few. But remember, he's an unrestricted free agent and market value will likely determine if the Cowboys can afford to re-sign the 11-year veteran. Here's what Jones had to say about that. That guy has laid it on the line for us for years and years and years, and nothing but respect for him. It's no different. Every situation's a little different, but he's been right there along with the Tyron Smiths and the Zach Martins, and we think so much of those guys and what they've done over their careers and the successful careers they've had. And we'll obviously be sitting down with DeMarcus and his representatives and see what he's thinking. Happy anniversary. Tuesday, February 25th, marked the 36th anniversary of the Jones family purchasing the Dallas Cowboys from previous owner Bum Bright in 1989. Pretty big bombshell in these parts since few actually knew who, as he was introduced, Gerald Wayne Jones was. An oilman from Arkansas, his arrival coincided with sending Cowboys head coach Tom Landry on his way, having been the only head coach in the franchise's first 29 years. And announcing Jones' former Arkansas Razorbacks teammates and head coach of the Miami Hurricanes the past 5 seasons, Jimmy Johnson, as the Cowboys' new head coach. 3 days later, February 28, so 36 years ago Friday, Johnson held his first news conference. The Dallas Times-Herald headline on my story from his news conference read, "Johnson sorry for hurting fans, coach seeks to mend fences." A 5-day span I'll never forget. And the nugget I found out surrounding Jimmy that I'll never forget: Jimmy Johnson sat with Cowboys 29-year president and GM Tex Schramm and Landry in the Cowboys suite during Super Bowl 23 in Miami that year, unintentionally foreboding. Not so happy. Know what else happened on a February 25th around here, in 1987, so 38 years ago Tuesday? The NCAA announced sentencing the SMU football program to a 2-year death penalty for doing, of all things, what most schools back then were violating anyway: paying players they were recruiting. The Mustangs program was so crippled, it did not return to a bowl game until 2010. Cowboys disappointing news on potential Zach Martin replacement. Frisco, the Dallas Cowboys. The somewhat expected yet nonetheless brutal news last week that Zach Martin intended to retire from the NFL after 11 seasons. Martin represented a significant leadership presence who set a high standard around the star for the past decade. His illustrious career consisted of 9 Pro Bowl appearances and 9 All-Pro selections. Needless to say, no Cowboys player in recent history has come close to topping that level of sustained success. That makes the process of finding his replacement all the more difficult. Martin may have been on the decline last season, but there is no real substitute for the entire package he brought. One option fans and analysts had theorized would be for the team to go after Kansas City Chiefs right guard Trey Smith. However, that plan may not be a possibility for the Cowboys after a recent development. According to Chiefs insider Nate Taylor, there is a growing optimism that Kansas City will re-sign their star guard to a long-term deal in the coming weeks. If that becomes the case, that would mean the Chiefs sacrificing the opportunity to re-sign several other key free agents as they are already strapped for cap space. Of the significant number of free agents set to hit the market from last year's team, Smith could demand the largest contract of the lot. The Super Bowl champion guard will be entering his prime in the next few years and may demand a contract to the likes of Carolina Panthers guard Robert Hunt. If that is the case, the Cowboys will have to turn to alternatives in the NFL draft or elsewhere around the league. Already young and experiencing the growing pains of some developing linemen, there is some risk in using a selection presumably in the later rounds for a Martin replacement. Brock Hoffman held the role when Martin missed time last season, and Dallas has the option to bring him back. But his contract expires in March, meaning he could decide to take his talents elsewhere. Smith's anticipated return to Kansas City may put a damper on some initial offseason hopes for Cowboys fans. Regardless, Jerry Jones and his staff will need to show some aggression on finding Martin's replacement as they look to solidify their roster over the next few months. Dallas Cowboys formally met Georgia star edge rusher at NFL Combine. The NFL Scouting Combine is underway, and the Dallas Cowboys have started meeting with some of the top prospects in the NFL draft, including a Georgia standout. With the NFL Scouting Combine in full swing, it is time for the Dallas Cowboys to start meeting and interviewing some of the top prospects in the 2025 NFL Draft class. On Wednesday, one projected first-round pick revealed he has formally met with Dallas. Georgia Bulldogs star edge rusher Mikael was speaking at the podium when he was asked whether he spoke to Dallas and Indy. More, Cowboys pick surprise home run hitter in Mel Kiper NFL mock draft. I did, Williams said with a huge smile. I loved that meeting. The Cowboys will get to see Williams on the field Thursday morning when the defensive linemen and linebackers participate in on-field workouts at Lucas Oil Stadium. Williams came into Indianapolis as a projected mid to late first-round pick. He entered the 2024 college football season as a projected top 5 pick, but was slowed by injuries throughout the season. There might not be a player with more to prove this week at the Combine than Williams, Kiper wrote. He was considered a candidate to go in the top 5 and even potentially number 1 when we first started building draft boards for this class back in August. But an ankle injury slowed him in 2024, resulting in just 5 sacks over 12 games. The traits are there, though. With a good week in Indy, the Bengals probably won't be high enough on the board to get him. Turn on the tape, and you see outstanding speed to power. It will be interesting to see how Williams performs during on-field drills, but we know the Cowboys will be watching. And are you a fan? What do you think of Mikael Williams' situation? Leave your opinion in the comments.